Hey YouTube, Patriotic Rottweiler again. Just finished up doing the fuel filter on the Ford model 1910 tractor. This was the last step I had in doing the maintenance on this tractor. It was relatively easy, and so what I did is I used the rubber mallet and the flathead screwdriver to press against the little lugs on the side right there and pushed it back this way towards the fuel tank to loosen that filter. So once that is loose, you can drop that filter down, and the housing was pretty disgusting, so I had to clean that up. And there's also a spring in the bottom of the housing. It is loose in there, so I made sure I captured it and put it back where it was. So after I changed out the filter and cleaned up the housing, there's an O-ring. I cleaned everything up and put it back together, put it back in there. There is a fuel shutoff right here, so that is fuel on. If you go to the left or to the right, that'll shut off the fuel. So it has to be up and down for the fuel to flow. So once I did that, and then I loosened that screw right there. That's a 10mm. So I loosened that bolt up, and it is a Phillips head, but I used a 10mm, and that way fuel could come out the top and purge all the air out of the filter. So once I had that part done, then I had to purge the fuel lines from the injection pump up into the injectors. What I did also is I went to Pep Boys and I got some 5/32 it's windshield washer hose, and that's this right here, and it goes down to that injector, and then there's a little jumper piece that goes to the second injector, and then there's another jumper piece that goes to the last injector. So it's 5/32, and I cut it to length. I got like a little over 2 feet, and I didn't need that much, but you always want to have more than you really need. So I cut that to length and put it in, because that is the diesel return going back to the tank. So the ones I removed were probably from the original, from when this thing was brand new. So they were really deteriorated, and so hopefully this will last a little while, and I'll be sure to check these and keep an eye on them, and then that way if I need to replace them, it's not expensive, it's easy to do, and so it's not that big of a deal. So you need a 17mm wrench. So you loosen up the tops of the injectors right there, and right there. Crank the engine over, and diesel will start spurting out of there a little bit. So that's how you bleed out the diesel. It might take you a couple of times, and do one at a time. Loosen one. It doesn't matter which one you start at. Just loosen one, crank the engine over, diesel will start coming out, tighten that one back down, go to the next one, repeat the process, and just keep doing that until you get all the air purged. Because the tractor will try to crank, and it'll try to run, but it'll die within 10 seconds. So that's how you know you still got air in the line. So you just keep doing that, and you might have to do it twice, you might have to do it 3 times maybe. I mean, you just, as soon as you shut off the engine, go ahead and tighten that back, the one that you had loose, tighten it back down. So after you do it a couple times, then it'll stay running, and it'll run just like normal. Anyway, that is make sure everything is tight, of course. Go back. Now this is the final thing. Make sure all of your other fluids, I went back to check the transmission fluid and the oil and everything else. Make sure everything is, full, and after you've run it a few times, recheck everything to make sure everything is still full. But other than that, that will be the final step in the maintenance of this tractor. As always, check some of my other videos. There's other tractor stuff. There's a Model A. There's other implements that I have. There's some of my our dog that we had, Duke. You can check those videos if you want. If you have any questions or any comments, just leave them in the section below. All right, thank you.